All right, so let's talk about solving real-world problems involving systems of equations. We're going to talk about a couple of strategies here that actually will suit us well in this chapter and in chapters beyond this. So I've given you some steps here to follow, although I don't follow them in this exact order. I will show you the order in which I do follow them. The first thing I like to do is to read through the entire problem and then define my variables by saying, hey, what's the stuff that I'm trying to find? Then I like to go through and highlight the information. And I'll show you an example of that in just a moment. I'll use that information to write the equations, then solve the system. Checking is an option. It's a good one to do. It's not a required one, but I think it's a good one. But you do need to write your answer in the real world form. All right? So let's look at this first problem on the sheet. So pause the video and read the problem, and we'll go from here. All right, so I've read through the problem, and the problem says how many hot dogs were sold and how many sodas were sold. You always want to know what questions you're trying to answer. So I'm going to define my variables. I'm going to use H for hot dogs, and I'm going to use S for sodas. And H is going to be the number of hot dogs. Please don't just write hot dogs, because that can mean anything. It can mean the number of hot dogs, it can mean the price per hot dog, it can be how you feel about hot dogs. And then S is the number of sodas. Now, so those are my variables, and I want my equations to involve these variables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the problem, and every time I come across a number, I'm going to say, is this sort of an overall number? Does this describe a total amount, or is this amount per something? So I'm going to read through this. You are selling hot dogs and sodas. Each hot dog costs $1.50. So that is $1.50 per hot dog. I don't want that right now. I'm going to come back to it. Each soda costs 50 cents. 50 cents per soda. I'm going to come back to that. At the end of the night, you made a total of $78.50. Okay, we have a total, $78.50. So I'm going to write that down. You sold a total of 87 hot dogs and sodas combined. So 87 is a total number of things you've added. And you can read the rest of the problem, but there is no more numbers or like quantities to take care of. So now, for each of these overall numbers, we are going to write an equation. And the first thing I'm going to do is say, okay, let's look at this $78.50. This is money, right? And what we have our variables are, wow, that doesn't make sense. What my variables are in terms of numbers of hot dogs and sodas, not in terms of money. So I would need to find something in the problem that helps me convert the number of hot dogs into money and the number of sodas into money. So I want to read back through the problem and look for something that tells me how much each thing costs per item. So here's that information. Each hot dog costs $1.50. Each soda costs 50 cents. So essentially, every hot dog, and we have H hot dogs, is going to cost $1.50. So 1.50, or just 1.5 times H. Every soda, and we have S sodas, is going to cost 50 cents, or 0.5. And then if I want total amount of money, I take the money from the hot dogs, money from the sodas, add them together, and that would give me the $78.50. So you're looking for an overall number, and then if it doesn't match the units of what you have in your variable, you look for something to convert it. So let's look at the second number, the 87. This is 87 total items. H and S are items. So really, this is already in a matching unit. So I don't have to look in the problem for anything to convert. I'm basically looking for the total number of hot dogs and sodas put together. So that's just going to be H plus S. And then from that point, you would use substitution or elimination and solve the system. So what I'm going to do to save us some time is I'm going to pause and work this off screen. I'm going to ask you to do the same. And then when we come back together, we'll check our answers. So I got that H is 35 and S is 52. So now we need to write this in real world language. So you basically want to say they sold 35 hot dogs and 52 sodas. And yes, I am looking for you to write a statement, write a sentence, tell me your answer, tell me what that thing means. So I will be looking for this, and this is your answer. All right, so let's look at the second one. But this time, I'm going to go a little faster through. So pause the video and read the problem. And now let's do it. So first to define my variables, I want to know the cost of soft taco and a cost of a burrito. So this time I'll use X and Y. Cost of a taco, cost of a burrito. And then I'm going to read through the problem and find the overall numbers. Let's see. You order 3 soft tacos and 3 burritos, and your total bill is $11.25. Total bill, $11.25. Your friend's bill is $10 for 4 soft tacos and 4 burritos. $10 total number. So I need to write an equation that represents the $11.25 and an equation that represents the 10. The $11.25 is your total bill, and you order 3 tacos. So if you multiply that by the cost of a taco, that would be the money you paid for the tacos. Same thing with the burritos. You ordered 3 of them times the cost. And if you added those together, that would be the amount of money you spent. Your friend, 4 soft tacos, 2 burritos, and there's your system of equations. So then you would want to solve this. Now I'm going to take an extra step because I see that each of these equations could be simplified. The bottom equation, everything is divisible by 2. Top equation, everything is divisible by 3. And I like doing that because now, if I solve this by elimination, the y's are already in agreement. All I have to do is subtract the 2 equations. So my x is 125. And then I can take that and say, hey, my x is 125. When I add that to y, I should get 375. So that's 250. And then write the answer in real world format. So each taco costs $1.25. Each burrito costs $2.50. All right. So I'm going to have some problems for you to practice when you come into class on Wednesday with these. I also want to talk about this last problem. Now, in this case, go ahead and pause the video, read the problem. This time, we have 3 different types of laptops. So, and we want to know the price, unit price. Unit price, by the way, is price per computer of each type of laptop. So this time, because we have 3 different types, we're going to need 3 different variables. X. Now, I could use X, Y, and Z. I'm going to use A, B, and C since those are letters already, and they're the types of laptop. So A is the unit price of A. B is, and I'm going to ditto mark B, and C is the unit price of C. And now I want to do the same thing. Overall numbers, here they are. These are the amounts they owe. I need an equation for each one of these. Now this is nice because they kind of laid it out in a chart form, so it's super easy to actually write these equations. I have 10 laptop A's times the unit price, 8 laptop B's times the unit price, 6 laptop C's times the unit price, and that would be $21,200. And I can do the same thing for the next 2 lines. Now, what we're going to get here is 3 equations in 3 variables. And we haven't learned how to do that yet. So in the next video, we're going to talk about how to actually solve a 3 by 3 system. That's 3 equations in 3 variables.